everyone. Welcome back. I'm Sarah, and this is David. Today, we are talking about a phrase you probably hear a lot in English. Everything happens for a reason. We'll look at what people mean by that, tell a couple of short stories, learn useful vocabulary, and give you a simple practice to try at home. Ready, David?
Ready, Sarah. Hi, everyone. I like this topic already because it's comforting, but also a little tricky. What does the phrase really mean? Is it about fate, luck, or just making sense of our lives?
Great question. When people say everything happens for a reason, they usually mean that even bad things can lead to something good later. It isn't always about fate or destiny. Sometimes it's about finding meaning after the fact. We use this phrase to feel hopeful when we face difficulty.
Okay. So it's sort of like looking for the lesson or the hidden benefit after something goes wrong.
Exactly. And sometimes we describe that hidden benefit with phrases like a blessing in disguise or the silver lining. We'll get to those soon. But first, I'll tell a short story. A few years ago, I missed an important flight. I was so upset. I thought the whole trip was ruined. I ended up staying an extra night by mistake, and I met a fellow traveler in the hotel lobby who later helped me find a job in a new city. At the time, it felt frustrating, but later, I called that missed flight a clear turning point in my life.
Wow, Sarah, that's a perfect example. I have one too. 2 summers ago, I lost a small client while freelancing. At the moment, I felt stressed and worried about money. But because I had a little extra time, I took an online course, updated my portfolio, and 6 months later, I got a much better client. Losing that first client was, well, a blessing in disguise for me.
That's wonderful, David. See, both stories show the same pattern. Something goes wrong, we feel bad, and later we discover a positive outcome. That helps us understand the phrase in a real, practical way.
Yeah, and I want to point out it's okay to feel upset in the moment. Saying everything happens for a reason doesn't erase the pain. It just helps us look forward a bit, right, Sarah?
Right. It's a comfort, not a commandment. Now, let's practice some useful vocabulary we used naturally in our stories.
Oh, good. Vocabulary time. I like vocabulary time.
Okay, first phrase, a blessing in disguise. Simple definition, something that seems bad at first but becomes good later. Example, losing my job was a blessing in disguise because I found a career I love. Try repeating that in your head.
Silver lining. Definition: a small good part in a bad situation. Example: the silver lining of the canceled event was that we had more time to prepare. Use it when the good part is not huge but real.
Meant to be. This one suggests destiny, that something was supposed to happen. Example, meeting you at that cafe was meant to be. Be careful. Native speakers use this when they feel something fits perfectly, often in love or big life changes.
Can I add one more? Turning point. Definition: a moment when things change direction. Example: that course was a turning point in my career. It's a useful phrase for stories.
Yes, good addition. Now, a few example sentences that combine these phrases. Listen and try to repeat quietly. At first, I was upset, but later it became a blessing in disguise. I couldn't see the silver lining until months later. After that night, I realized it was meant to be. Losing that opportunity was the turning point that pushed me forward.
Simple practice idea. Try replacing parts of your own story with these phrases. For example, I missed the bus, which was a blessing in disguise because fill in the reason. That builds fluency and helps you use the phrase naturally.
Exactly. Now, let's do the interactive part. I'd like everyone listening to pause the episode for a moment or just think and remember one time when something went wrong, but later turned out well. Got it? Okay, think of one short story. What happened, how you felt, and what changed later.
I'll give you a little structure to use when you tell that story in English. Keep it short, 3 sentences. 1. The situation. I lost my job last year. 2. The immediate feeling or problem. I felt worried and confused. 3. The result and meaning. But it turned out to be a blessing in disguise because I found a better job. Practice each sentence slowly. Also, use past tense verbs lost, felt, discovered, found. Those are clear and simple. If you're not sure about a verb, use became or ended up. They're very common and safe.
Good tip. And connect your sentences with linking words. However, but, eventually, as a result, in the end. For example, I was disappointed at first, but eventually I realized the change helped me grow. Those connectors help your story flow.
Want a small exercise? Record yourself telling the 3 sentence story, then listen back and try to improve one part. Maybe a stronger adjective or a small connector. Do this 3 times. It helps your pronunciation and storytelling.
If you want an extra challenge, write one sentence using meant to be. For example, at first it seemed like bad luck, but later I thought it was meant to be. Be honest. Sometimes we say meant to be to feel better, and that's okay.
I want to interrupt, sorry Sarah, but one quick language note. When you use blessing in disguise, don't use a and the together incorrectly. You can say it was a blessing in disguise or that experience turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Short and simple.
Great correction, David. Little grammar tips like that can make your speech sound more natural. Now, I'll share a tiny script you can use to practice with a friend. You can change the details. Person A, remember when I missed that interview? I was so upset. Person B, really? What happened next? Person A, it was a blessing in disguise. I ended up finding a better position. Try this role play slowly with natural questions.
Oh no. Wow. And so, what did you think about the author? Did you like her approach or did you learn anything?
Yes. Use short reactions like, oh, hmm, I see, or that's amazing. They are small words, but they show you're listening and they are common in everyday English.
Before we wrap up, I want to say you don't need to force everything into this idea. Sometimes bad things don't lead to a positive outcome, and that's okay. The language we teach helps you talk about hope and reflection, not to ignore real pain.
Very important point, David. Be gentle with yourself. The phrases we taught are tools to describe meaning when you find it. They are not rules you must follow.
Okay, quick recap. Vocabulary: a blessing in disguise, the silver lining, meant to be, and turning point. Practice: 3 sentence story, add an adjective, use past tense verbs, and try role play.
And practice tip, record yourself 3 times or practice with a friend for 5 minutes a day. Use the connector words, but, however, eventually, as a result. These small habits build fluency.
One last small exercise before we go. Tell yourself out loud one sentence using silver lining. For example, the silver lining of the rain was that we stayed inside and talked more. Say it slowly Notice the rhythm.
Thank you for practicing with us. Remember, language learning is like life. Sometimes you miss a bus. Sometimes you get a new chance. Keep telling your stories in English. They matter.
Yes, and please share your story with a friend or in our comments if you can. We'd love to hear one short example of something that ended up being a blessing in disguise for you, okay?
Thank you, David. And thank you, listeners. Keep practicing, be kind to yourself, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now. Take care.
Bye, good luck, and remember, sometimes things happen for a reason. Maybe often.